Hello.
We're live. I just got the alert on my phone that says live.
Yes, we are live.
We're live. So
Today's topic.
before we get started
Whoa.
with today's topic, we have important business. So last time, I guess it wasn't last week.
Last fortnight, 2 weeks ago.
Last fortnight for you kids that are into that. Where are we dropping, boys? No, I can't use my Fortnite memes. I play a lot of Fortnite with my 15-year-old. So if you need help sucking less at Fortnite, reach out to me. Leave a comment. We'll put the word Fortnite in the keywords.
He helped me, and I killed his son.
She did. She shot my kid with a semi-automatic sniper rifle in playground mode, just cold-blooded, right between the eyes. Absolute savage. So we're gonna put the word Fortnite in the keywords, and then we'll get like 1 million visitors to this channel because that's what the kids are into. So before we get started, we had a contest.
We did have
2 weeks ago, last fortnight, and we were giving away a copy of Jack Murphy's book, Democrat to Deplorable, because we're supporting Jack because he's had to put up with some shenanigans, trying to get back into coaching his kids.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, they're not the fun shenanigans. And the deal was, if you subscribe to the channel and you left a comment on the last video, you were entered to win the copy of the book.
You told me who it is.
The comments of our last video?
I guess I didn't.
So don't blame me because you're not doing your job. So we only had one person who left 2 comments, so he was like making sure that he got in like twice. He was gaming the system. So we will be happy, Bob Alexander, to mail you your book. It'll be on the way. We will reach out to you via DM, email, whatever electronic means are necessary. Get your information. I'll drop this in the mail. You can enjoy your new book. As any author will tell you, it's always nice to leave a review. So get on the Amazon, get on the Goodreads, tell people how awesome the book is. That stuff matters. So, I mean, like, I'm sitting at 9 reviews on Amazon for The White Arrow. Like, if somebody could just put number 10 on there, please. I want the big 10, like break the single digit. I can't really make a 10 on the thing there. So leave a review. And if you didn't win or you forgot to enter, you can go get this book. It's on Amazon. It's a good book. After. So you were about to introduce our topic.
Introduce our topic. So the title is The Internet Playground, Ninja Parenting. Ninja Parenting. So
I prefer samurai, but she wanted to be a ninja.
Yes, I wanted to be a ninja. So with electronic devices come with a lot of responsibility, and it can be very overwhelming as parents because there's so many electronic devices.
Right, and you have no idea. You have no idea what your children are capable of.
Right.
I'd like to tell a story. Can I tell a story?
You love telling stories.
I love telling stories. So this was about 4 years ago, maybe longer, maybe less. I don't know. So I was chaperoning for my kids' field trip, and we're on the bus, and we're driving about 45 minutes to this NASA Space Center thing they have in Northwest Phoenix. And the kids are on the bus, and this one girl's got her smartphone, and she's like, "Hey, did you guys see this video on YouTube?" And half the kids on the bus are like, "No, my mom doesn't get data on my phone because she doesn't want me on the internet." And the girl's like, "Well, you can do Wi-Fi." And you're like, "Yeah. All right, well, hold on." She sets up a hotspot on her cell phone, gives everybody on the bus access. The whole bus full of school children is now rolling down the I-10, surfing the internet, totally wide open because there's no firewall on Molly's little cell phone there because her mom didn't restrict her internet. Therefore, nobody on the bus has restricted internet. So you can be a good parent thinking, hey, I gave my kid a smartphone, but they're only allowed to surf the internet when they're on Wi-Fi.
Which Wi-Fi is everywhere.
Wi-Fi is everywhere. So, and these kids, this was like 4th grade. This little girl was like Tony Stark in Iron Man 2, taking over the monitors and, making fun of Justin Hammer. right there on the bus. And then I got off the bus and I told the teacher, I said, did you know that Molly could do this? And she's like, what are you talking about? The teacher has no idea. So don't expect your teachers to know because you don't know. Assume everything. Like right now,
the parents, the teachers are assuming that the parents are
right. It's not the teacher's job to parent your kids.
Right.
Do not ever expect that.
Right.
Okay. If you're leaving your kids at school to be babysat and raised by a state employee making a terribly low salary to watch 45 kids at a time all day, you need to rethink your life. That is
not for the weak.
It is not for the weak, and it is not for your teachers to do. It is for you to do, and you are the chief of information security in your own household. And whatever electronic device you buy for your children, you have to assume that it is internet enabled and they can watch porn on it. I don't care if it's their toothbrush. There's probably a way to do it. There are internet-enabled toothbrushes now. No, that's not a lot. I'm not making that up.
Can we stop for a second and talk about the hotspot?
Okay.
Because, on T-Mobile, I have a hotspot, and I can make a hotspot anywhere. You can block that off of individual lines within your phone.
Right.
So this is not something that if you want a hotspot as a parent, because when you go on road trips, you want your kids to be able to have internet access, and you're monitoring it. You don't have to give them a hotspot all the time.
No.
And I wouldn't because of the story you just told.
No. But you have to be aware that just because you think you've done your due diligence and taken the internet off of the child's device doesn't mean they can't put it back on there. I will give you real life examples that have happened to me. I will not name any names. But I have a child who figured out how to surf the internet on his Nintendo 3DS device. Did you even know that had an internet that has a fully functional web browser? You can surf everything on the internet with that. So if your kid has a handheld gaming device, it's internet enabled. If it's been made in the last 15 years, it's internet enabled. They can surf anywhere on the internet they want. There is no firewall. You would think Nintendo would block the mature content on the internet. They will not do that for you. They're not. You have to do that. You have to assume that they have access to that. If they have a tablet, if they have a leapfrog, if they have a cell phone, if they have a laptop,
so
whatever they have, even a gaming device is surf the internet. And not only do you have to be concerned about them viewing inappropriate content, you have to be concerned about people reaching out to your children that you don't want talking to them.
And outside of internet access, just if they have a phone, even if you're like, well, I don't give them internet and I don't give them Wi-Fi and they can't do any of that, you still need to ask them questions about the electronic devices. Story time. So before I was a parent, but I'm somewhat tech savvy, I was talking to parent friends of mine that had kids that were getting into middle school age and what have you, and they had phones. And I'm like, oh, do you look at their phone? Oh, no, they're fine. They don't do anything. They don't have access to internet or what have you. So I start asking them innocent questions because kids will tell you things that they don't realize that they're telling you. I asked a simple question. So do you guys send pictures to each other on your phone? And the answer was of their face. And they were so a bit defensive about it. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So you know that that's not what they're doing. You have to be skeptical and you have to play, James Bond and see the signs and the facial expressions and the, language and what have you. And they have no privacy. You have control to look at their devices at any time, look at what's in their pictures, look at what's in their history, all of that. You need to pay attention.
The news is too full of stories of parents who have had suspicions, and after it's way too late, they look at the phone and they realize that their son or daughter has been sending inappropriate photos to a person that is way too old for them. Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. And you think your children are innocent, and I'm sorry, they are not.
Do not believe that.
Don't assume that. So what you need to do is you need to not only be reactive, you need to be proactive.
You have some good advice.
So one of the things that I did was that I wanted, my children are in middle school and they will be in high school soon, and they wanted to have, laptop devices. They want to use smartphones and all this other stuff. And both their mother and I have concerns about what they're doing on the internet and who's talking to them on the internet. They've had friends who have been approached by people in other states on the internet that have, creepy, scary, horrifying stuff. That's like, okay, this is my daughter's friend who was like 12 is getting approached. No, stop. We're not going to let that happen. So there's a couple things you can do as a parent. And some of it, you have to pay a little money for. Some of it you don't even have to do. So if you have Microsoft devices, whether it's a Windows computer or tablet or like an Xbox, Microsoft has very good free parental tracking software that you can use to monitor your kids' usage, to limit the amount of usage that they have, and to see what they're doing while they're on the internet by using their device. Now, they do have an add-on for smartphones. I don't know if it works on Apple. I know it works on Android. I have not used it, so I can't speak to it expertly. But evidently, if you use their software, it'll tell you what they're doing, how long they're online for, what applications they're running, who they're communicating with, all this good stuff. Now, the catch is that if it's a Microsoft device, it will only track Microsoft's web browser. So if they load like Google Chrome or something, then they're outside of Microsoft's ecosystem. You don't get the tracking information. But it's good to have, because I can, from where I sit, even though I don't live full time with my children, I can say, okay, you have your math grade is low, so your Xbox time is limited. And I can literally, and I will reach out to their mother and say, hey, just so you know, we're going to limit the Xbox time because so-and-so has a low math grade or whatever. And, usually if you communicate as a divorced parent, everybody's on board when it comes to the kids, usually. That's usually not a problem, when it comes to that kind of thing. So it works out well. And then you can not only limit and monitor and enforce, healthy usage limits, but you can also track. There is another piece of software that I've used, which is good for the smartphones of all varieties, good for all kinds of computers. And it's made by a company called Custudio. Now it's spelled with a Q. I'll put a link to it in the show notes here. That software is free for one child and one device. So you can kind of give it a test run. It is very, very good. Like, it tracks everything. It's like the NSA of parenting. It sends me a report of, who they talk to on the phone, who they're communicating with, what they're doing on the internet, what terms they're even searching for. So, if I'm concerned that, my kid is doing searches for, what is the best way to sacrifice a live chicken, and they're not looking at Major League, okay, are we starting a cult of Jobu here, son, or is there something else you'd like to talk about? So was that not a good example? You're looking at me like that's not a good example. So the point is that you get full access to what your children are doing online. And this is not an invasion of privacy.
No.
Your children do not have privacy because you're paying for the device. They are under 18. They are your responsibility. They don't have any rights. Period.
For the week.
Do not go. Don't be one of those parents that's like, my children are my friends and I respect their space. No. Bad. And also, if your kid sucks at sports, he doesn't get a trophy. Bad. Okay? Stop it. Be a better parent. You have to take control of the situation, because you know what? The creepy ass sex offenders out there. Oh. I wasn't pointing at you. I was pointing like towards the doors over there. So I didn't mean, as far as I know, she is not a registered sex offender. So she's absolutely not. So but they're out there and they don't care if you're a warm and fuzzy, I respect my child's feelings parent. They're not going to care. They are going to exploit your children. They are going to invade your privacy. They don't care. So you have to care. You are the shield wall between the hostile invader and the people trying, to get to your kids. So don't take that lightly. And yes, if that means your kids don't have all the privacy they want between now and the time they're 18, so be it. So be it. But don't trust your kids, and don't, and I'm not saying don't trust them like you expect them to lie, but kids make mistakes, and kids are curious.
They think they know.
And they think they know, and they're curious, and they're naturally inquisitive, and they're naturally rebellious at that age, and you have to be prepared. And that means you have to take proactive action, and you have to protect them, because ultimately that is your job, to get them to the point where, okay, you're 18 and nothing catastrophically bad happened to you. And you wanted to bring up the point about the internet being forever and about personal brands and so forth. So why don't you talk about that a little bit, and I'll take a break.
So what some kids don't understand these days, and I can't imagine growing up with every part of what I've done as a child on the internet, because once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
I am so lucky there were no cell phones in Cancun in 1992.
So, we had the luxury, if you're over 35, probably, that everything wasn't captured on video and posted on Facebook and Twitter and everything else. Kids need to understand that no matter what they put out there, it follows with them forever, because someone can take a screenshot of it, right? We used to think Snapchat was, oh, it's okay, it doesn't last. It's just, you see it and then it goes away in 30 seconds. Well, you can take a screenshot. You can't, unless it's, even when it's closed, like we do Marco Polo video, and it's closed to the people who are on that channel. I don't know if you can download those videos. I know you can delete the videos. I can download a video and share share my video somewhere else. But you've got to be careful about what you're putting out there. If you are on Twitter and you're saying all of this horrible stuff, and you're from your political ideology or whatever, when you go for a job interview, they Google you. You just have to assume that they Google you. And if you're not Googling your name on a quarterly basis, you should. You should see what comes up with your name attached to it.
Set up a Google alert for your own name.
That is a better idea.
So what you can do is set up a Google alert, and you'll have to tweak this depending on the nature of your name. So like for me, my last name is particularly common. If I were to set up a Google alert for it, I'd have to include probably my full name and my hometown. And then whenever there's news with somebody from my name in my hometown, it would tell me. And this way, when there's stuff out there with your name on it. But that's an excellent point. You need to control this stuff, because
it's a good conversation to have with your kids.
Yes,
it's a powerful. Sorry,
no, you're fine.
The technology is powerful. There's a lot of good out there. You've got the Khan Academy that can help you with tutoring. You've got YouTube where you can learn about how to do things mechanically, like around the house, or doing crafts or what have you. There's a lot of power behind it, but there's, you have to remember that there's some bad sides of the internet, and it's a good conversation to have with your kids, just like how TV was and cable. Do you remember when cable came out when we were younger? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that was
and
sometime in the Carter administration.
But stop it. We had a lockbox on our cable. My mom would turn it so that we couldn't see certain cable shows. And if anything were to come up, we had a conversation about it. And that's just the way, that's what parenting is all about.
Right. But it's worse now, because at least before with cable, it was one directional.
Yeah.
You could watch bad content, but the bad content couldn't talk back to you.
Right.
And now the internet is full of predators, and every time a story like this comes out, I mean, there was a story, I tweeted about it a few weeks ago, at the Super Bowl. The FBI worked with a number of local law enforcement agencies in the area, because predators like to attend those events and try to prey on on victims in cities that they don't usually live in. And so they set up a sting in the Atlanta area, and they caught like 20 plus guys that were trying to set up meetings with underage children. So, to catch a predator, we all saw that TV show. That stuff's real. It happens. Those people are out there. They want to mess with your kids. They will if you allow it. Your job is to stop it. So if you have questions about this, if you are not sure, or you're concerned, reach out to one of us and say, hey, what do I do about this? What's the best way to do this? Information security is what I do by trade, so I'm pretty good at it. Sarah Beth is very good at it because she's been online her entire career as well, and we'll help you out. But it's serious business. We're parents. We care about our kids. You should care about your kids. And, there's a number of things you can do to keep an eye on things preventatively, proactively. I mean, it's one thing to say, well, I could read my router logs and I can see, okay, that's fine. That happens after the fact. You need to stop it before it happens. That's the best way to do it. And then that'll develop the habit, because the kids will test where they can go and where they can't. And when it's blocked, then they just give up and they find something else to do.
And when you make rules around your electronic devices, you need to be consistent with it. That's with any parenting rule. If you're going to put the rule out there, you've got to follow through. Otherwise, they're never going to take you seriously. Follow through. Be consistent.
Yeah.
Ask questions and get them to talk. They'll say things that will trigger you to know that something's not right. So just ask questions.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to participate. Do the things that your kids like doing online. I play Fortnite with my kids because they like playing Fortnite. So I want to see what it's about. I want to know what they're being exposed to in game.
And you get to meet some of his friends.
I get to meet his friends online. It's great. The game's fun. I mean, it's not a bad use of my time.
I played Fortnite this weekend for the first time.
Got hurt. I mean,
because Isaac likes watching him play.
Right.
And I thought, okay, well, if I can, get Isaac to play Fortnite, that would be interesting. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of interest.
And because I've played enough with my kids, I know enough to okay, this is where he could go, where he wouldn't get picked on, that kind of thing. So be involved. If your kids are on social media, follow them on social media. That doesn't mean you have to interact with them or get in their way or make them uncool, right. But if you see them post something on social media that's a little questionable, you can say, hey, I didn't want to say anything publicly, but something you said on Twitter or Facebook the other day was a little bit upsetting to me. I'd like to talk to you about it, and keep an eye on this stuff, because as much as the conversations can be awkward and uncomfortable, it's a lot better than the alternative, which is just letting it slide or being totally ignorant to it. And then you wake up one morning and your kid's living in a van down by the river because.
And one of the most simple thing you can do is check your kids' history in their internet. And if it's blank, they're erasing it for a reason.
They're clearing it for a reason. They don't want you to look. So that's why you have to do the proactive thing.
Proactive, right.
Which is stop it before it happens, because otherwise you're reacting and they can react as fast or faster than you can. Because guess what? They're really good at this stuff because they grew up with it. Right. We didn't. But they did. And so they're real good at it. And you have to be better. And that means you have to get better. So if you have questions, ask. We'll help you out. We'll show you where you can get help for it. It's not that difficult. It'll just take a little time.
Yep.
But you'll be a better parent for it.
Parenting is not for the weak.
Not for the weak. Go live something and get stronger.
Well, that was this week's episode. We'll be on again in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, in another fortnight.
In another fortnight. If there's a topic that you're interested in, like parenting or what have you, drop it in the comments.
Yes. Let us know what you would like us to talk about next time. Otherwise, you're at our mercy, and the agenda could go anywhere. Last time we had tinfoil hats on.
We did have tinfoil. Mine was cuter than yours.
It probably was. Ask me how much I care. Not gonna ask.
Nope.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks for joining, everybody. Have a great evening.